I'm Sarah, and I like to tell stories. And I want to give you a glimpse into a sixth grade benchmark. It's a lot of words if you look at all the words right there. It's benchmark 6.1.1.4. It's part of Anchor Standard 1, which is the data science anchor standard. And there's a lot of words, but if you look at it, I said I like stories. And this is about asking statistical questions and telling a story with data displays. And we're going to look specifically at box plots in this benchmark. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the two other dimension there with the math practices, which is math practice 5, attending to precision, and math practice 6, where we're using tools strategically. So you see us use a tool. I like to tell stories, and I often like to tell stories about my family. This is my family. My mom and dad are in the front. I'm in the back. My sister-in-law is right in front of me. You can see that I'm pretty tall compared to her. And then I have my brother and my sister, and they are taller than me. And we have lots of tall people, but we also have lots of kids that we're waiting to see how tall they'll be. But if you go into my extended family, we had a big family reunion. On my grandmother's side, she immigrated from Sweden. And at that reunion, we took a picture of the tallest and shortest person at the reunion. And I like to use this picture in my classroom. Like right now, you could notice and wonder with me. I ask students to notice and wonder. And students notice things like they both have blue shirts on, or they both have shorts on, or they're outside. But ultimately, they want to know if they're married and if they're how tall they are, because they notice they are very tall and very short, and they wonder other things as well, and notice things. And so we talk about things that they notice and wonder, and I chart them for about 5 minutes, and then we talk about questions, mathematical questions that we could ask about this. And one question that comes up is a statistical question about Leonard and Masako. Leonard is a cousin that lives in Sweden, and Masako is married to my dad's cousin and lives in Japan. And they wonder, are their heights unusual in their family? We could answer that question and we could look at my family. I'm 5'11". Is their height unusual from that? My brother is 6'3". My sister likes to say she is 5'12", really 6 feet. But I don't have the heights of all my other family members, and honestly, they're changing all the time. And so we might ask something that's closer to our classroom. Another question we could ask is, are their heights unusual in our class, our sixth grade class? That's a great question, except most of my sixth graders are pretty close to Masako's height. And so Leonard definitely would be unusual. The question that we had a lot of fun with was actually, let's say Leonard and Masako became teachers at our school and they're in some kind of exchange program. And we took all the other teachers at our school. There ended up being 40 teachers total with the two of these. And would their heights be unusual with the teachers in our school? And my students knew all these teachers, and I asked them, what information would we need to answer this question? And they said, well, we would need to know the heights of your family members. I'm like, good news. I know their heights. When I asked them, they told me their heights, and they told me their heights in centimeters because they're from countries where they measure in the metric system. And so I have their centimeters. And I then asked, by the way, Leonard is nearly 2 meter sticks tall. Put 2 meter sticks together, he's amazingly tall. What other information would we need? And when I asked them what other information, they're like, well, we need to know the heights of all the teachers. So they went around over the next day or two and collected the heights of all the teachers. They got a lot of them in heights and inches, and we had to do conversions. And then we started to think about graphical displays we could use. And so there's many we could use, but often when sixth grade students and teachers see box plots, they're like, I know how to do it, but I don't know why this is useful. Why would anybody do this? And one of the ways that I made box plots seem to make a lot more sense to my students was by using it in the context of something that they knew about. So we put all 40 teachers in this box plot, all 40 of them. And so we needed a scale. Of course, all box plots need scales. And Leonard ended up being the tallest teacher at our school at 193 centimeters. Masako would have been the shortest at 148 centimeters. And then we put in all the other teachers. I'm only going to put one more in there. That's me. I'm 180 centimeters. You can see I'm on the upper end of heights in the teacher of our school. And we map them all out. But imagine this full of 40 pictures of 40 teachers at a school, and we have heights for all of these. Then we started thinking about, like, why are some of the boxes wider than some of the other boxes? Why are some of the whiskers longer than other boxes? And we talked about how each of the whiskers in each of the boxes represents 20 5% of the data. Or in the case of 40 teachers, that would be 10 teachers are represented. There was 10 pictures of teachers in each whisker and in each box. And when we started looking at that first box and looking at the 10 teachers there, we realized that those 10 teachers were all pretty close in height. That's why that box was narrower than the other box where those teachers' heights were more spread out. And so students start to see why this shows a picture of the spread of the data and allows us to make some statements. We also looked at other sixth grade benchmarks, like looking at spread with interquartile range. And we also extended the learning through the progression of where this anchor standard goes. And we also extended and talked about outliers. Well, maybe Leonard and Masako are outliers. And so we use the equations that they'll learn later in other grades about outliers. And it turned out Masako was an outlier along with one other teacher in our school who was pretty short. But Leonard actually turned out, we had a lot of tall teachers, turned out to be in the normal range and not an outlier. And so as you think about this, you can apply grade level learning to stuff that came before, but you can also extend learning and connect it to things that show up in the progression of the learning with our students. So if you have comments or thoughts on benchmark 6.1.1.4, I'd love for you to comment down below. We love hearing from you and thank you for watching and getting a glimpse. Obviously, I didn't talk about the whole benchmark, so hopefully you'll go and read. There's links below. And we hope that you subscribe to MCTM's YouTube channel so that you can get more Benchmark of the Week videos.